Welcome back, everybody, to the European Overwatch PIT Championship for Group B. I'm Storm, and back with Hurix, and we are about to get into our second series of the day. It's going to be the Singularity Ninjas up against X Alternate Attacks. Hurix, we will be heading to Hollywood for our first map in this best of three. Both these two teams, not performing as well as maybe they had hoped for in the past couple days. Singularity Ninjas yesterday, though, with a big upset, not necessarily a big upset, but a decent upset up against Hammers Esports. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I think Singularity Ninjas, should be able to take this. It should be fairly convincing, but Atax really hasn't been given a really good opportunity to show what they have to work with. I mean, they did lose to Hammers, but they also did lose to Dignitas, but they weren't really like hard losses, other than Hammers being able to just basically just run them over on Nimbani. But nonetheless, I think they still looked like they had some signs of improvement going up against Dignitas and the next day, which was yesterday, of course. And now I think that they're really trying to step their game up and really show what they have to offer for the EU region. However, kind of a similar story for Singularity Ninjas, who really have played some of the tougher teams, I would say, so far in this grouping. Obviously, starting things off with Misfits is, gonna be a hard one to go up against, I think, for sure. And losing that one out 0-2 doesn't really surprise anyone, I would say. But then taking out Hammers, I think, really set a precedent for themselves. And then a big story for them, I think, in particular, is just the performance that we've seen from Lelouch as a primary thing, I think. Obviously, a lot could be said about Manitrodster as well, who has been kind of accompanying him in that DPS role. But as really kind of like a primary DPS, Lelouch has really been performing. They were able to basically mirror out the composition that Hammers Esports, formerly the Chavs, have been very, very known for, which is a triple tank strat using a Genji as that sole DPS. Typically, again, you see a lot of Soldier 76 fill that role, given the consistent DPS and the ability to break down barriers and all that kind of stuff. But able to mirror a composition that the Chavs, now Hammers Esports, have been very good with, very solid with, and then beat them at it and beat them in a 2-1, beat them 2-1 on Volskaya and Nepal, and then only losing out barely there on Hollywood. I would say Singularity Ninjas are in a great position, actually, to be able to win this series. However, both teams, I think, kind of on even ground a little bit. In terms of Hollywood, obviously, we saw Alternate Attacks able to take yesterday against Dignitas on Hollywood, and Dignitas certainly looked, I would say, pretty decent in that last matchup, as they were able to take it over Misfits, who is incredibly strong as a roster in general. But still, Singularity cannot be counted out at all. We saw them lose to Hammers on that particular map. I think this one might go in favor of X Alternate Attacks. It's still going to be kind of close, but once we get into those second and third maps, Singularity should be able to pull away. Especially if Singularity pulls out Nepal. I think they're going to be able to take that one as well, just given their performance, particularly on Sanctum, and also given the fact that we've seen Nepal already come out for alternate attacks, and they lost to Hammers pretty convincingly, who actually Team Singularity Ninjas have already finished off on that particular map as well.
And I think it's important to note that the first team, like you had mentioned, the first team Singularity Ninjas played was Misfits. So them losing to it's not a shocker, but then going up against a team, I think they're a little bit more evenly matched with, like Hammers Esports, taking a little bit of an upset victory 2-1 in that matchup yesterday. And now we're going up against a team that's X Alternate Attacks, who is sitting at 0-2 in the standings. I think they're going into this with, as the upper dogs here, to see if they're able to find themselves with I believe it would be a 2-1 in the standings if possible. But on the side of X Alternate Attacks here, dropping 0-3, if they drop today, is not going to be a good start whatsoever. I think they would be kind of forced to, if I'm not mistaken, win the next three, or at least two of the next three, if they want to have any shot whatsoever of making it to the next stage of the tournament here. So it's going to be rough for these guys, I think. Should they not be able to find a victory in Singularity, personally, I think this is a must-win for these for the side of X Attacks, but we are ready to get things underway here on Hollywood. To get things started, it will be, I believe, X Attacks on the defense here and Singularity Ninjas on offense. Let's see what we have from both squads composition-wise.
And we're seeing two tank, actually, and that's going to be Decode and Nex. And we've seen a lot of single tank, actually, from this particular roster, with Decode very often going over to a Winston, Vision oftentimes on a Tracer, and Crank's actually going to, I believe he's been Genji pretty much
Yep.
as often as possible. But nonetheless, we do see them going with this composition regardless, and probably trying to take advantage of the fact that Ruby, I think, is certainly a lot stronger on Ana than he is on Zenyatta. He pulled Zenyatta out yesterday a bit, didn't quite work out for them. Not to say that he's bad at it. I think he's just a huge playmaker on the Ana, and I really think that they want to go ahead and take advantage of that as much as they possibly can.
On the defensive side, it will be those guys going with pretty much, like you said, what they expected to go with. But on the offense, nerfed as well, going to be on Winston here. Monday putting him on the Tracer Lynn as well on the Zenyatta pick. So going with a bit of a dive composition. We'll see how it works for them to get things started as 10 seconds remain in our first game of this best of 3. Like I had said, a pretty big one for X Attacks if they don't want to fall 0-3 in the standings. And Singularity Ninjas looking to put themselves up to a 2-1 here.
Something that stands out to me a little bit is Tal's actually just starting on the Lucio. With a composition like this, I mean, they often run a Torbjorn, actually, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think we saw yesterday, but we certainly saw in the open qualifier them pulling this out. Tal is definitely known for being flexible and being the first person to put his hand up to be able to play Torbjorn in a matchup like this, but that's not going to be the case, and they're still doing quite well without it. And they're able to take that opening pick. Crank's finding that early kill there and getting a lot of charge in the meantime as well.
This is an interesting spot to hold, I think, for X Attacks. They're not getting too aggressive. They're holding around the choke. Now they're going to go ahead and back off, knowing that they have 6 coming at them. Again, Crank's finding that kill onto Lelouch there. That's the second time he has opened up the fight with a kill onto the Genji, and they're able to get aggressive off this. Looking for Winston. He's going to be taken down by Decode. Mende is going to be dropped in the end. He was sitting on the point, but X Attacks having no issues whatsoever holding these guys off.
Crank's backing himself up here, but, I mean, at first, it definitely looks like X Alternate Attacks is mounting a very, very solid hold here, as we do see some switches coming out. Danny and Mende Trodster making some swaps as well as nerfed, and they're going to go for that triple tank strat with Lelouch on the Genji, that sole DPS that we talked about, just kind of going...
Oh, that's a big shatter, though. Decode coming through big time there. They have the follow-up as well. I think he hit 3 in that engagement, if I'm not mistaken, Hurix, and just like that, X Attacks have about 1:30 off the board. Lelouch still in the back trying to harass, but they have no issues. I mean, Singularity are just not, it doesn't feel like they're really able to mount a full 6-man group and try to push to the point without losing somebody.
Well, the problem is that they were just already so behind. Nice Earth Shatter coming out there from Decode, but we're going to be seeing the Nano Visor come out. Not a whole lot of options in terms of targets here, and they're just going to run straight at Nerfed, and he's going to get the sound barrier up. Not going to be taken out immediately, but finally taken down there by Decode and Cranks, as we see a nice shotgun hit there from Danny to find the kill on Decode, and now it's a little bit of a 1-for-1, 2-for-1 now.
But still, no one's dealing with Cranks. Cranks is being such an impact player here on the Soldier 76 next. Able to find that other kill. Lelouch, it's not happening with his Genji. He is consistently being picked off here. Has a Dragon Blade to work with. Lin doesn't even have Nano Boost ready yet. It's the first time at 2 minutes and 30 seconds it's taken him to get that charge up. If I'm not mistaken,
he was on
I don't think
Zenyatta.
He's used it so far.
He was on Zenyatta.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, yeah, he was on Zenyatta. So, you're right about that one. But even so, finally going to have this one. There's the Dragon Blade coming out from Lelouch. He's going to find the first pick onto Ruby. Now looking for something. Earthshatter as well comes out from Decode. The follow-up is there from the defensive end. Decode put to sleep. He is going to be taken down here in the end. It's a bloodbath on the side as well. Insecurity. Danny finds the kill on into Envision, though. Cranks, again, not being dealt with in X Attacks. Going to be able to hold, I think, going to be able to hold strong here.
Where did this guy come from? I mean, Cranks, we've seen him on the Genji, and he was performing well, but where did this Soldier 76 come from this guy? I mean, not to say that he's really been, not there at all, but certainly I think this particular defensive hold here on Hollywood, it definitely stepped up for sure. Nonetheless, we are going to be seeing Nerfed in a peculiar position here, and we do see the Pulse Bomb at the ready. Definitely looking for that. It does go up off the shield, and Nerf going to get healed. What was that recall?
Oh my goodness, Danny is well under a lot of heat. Next is coming up so big here. He's punching out the damage onto these guys, basically making that Earth Shatter from Nerfed virtually useless. They find a kill on the Monday as well, extremely late. 15 seconds remain. They've got a nano visor combo as well from Cranks and Ruby. I'm looking for that. Not a lot of work to really work with from the offensive side. I think 8 seconds to get back to the point here.
And Cranks once again with that nano visor at the ready that they could be using here. Lelouch didn't get too much value out of the nano blade last time we saw his sleep coming out though onto Cranks, and that's Land making an impact play there.
That's a big one, especially since the code's already taken down here. They've got, no, there's a pulse bomb. Pulse bomb picks up one there. There's a graviton surge. Lelouch with the Dragon Blade picks up 2 kills, gets the deflected whole hog, and just like that, Singularity come through with a point A capture after the full 4 minutes. They're going to try to contest this one with the Tracer, but I don't think Envision's going to be able to get too much done.
Every time Envision recalls, he goes all the way back to the Wild
big
Wild
shatter!
West.
Did you see the shatter? Decode picking up 3 off of that one here. They use a nano boost as well into Nerfed, but I don't know how long they're able to keep Decode alive here. There's a shatter from Nerf. He finds 3 off of that one. They finally get the first checkpoint after an extremely long team fight.
But they should be able to take a couple of picks here on the defensive side. Decode actually going to fall there, and that's going to lessen the impact that they have on the defense. And we are going to be seeing Singularity now finally moving through here. Not a lot of time remaining, though, to try to get through to this last stage of the map and hit up this second checkpoint, get another point on the board for themselves. So we'll have to see if they're able to create some momentum off of that. What a hook onto Envision from Danny there.
Still, if they find these picks on the offensive side, it's going to help them try to get, you know, that 230 they originally had, like you mentioned, isn't a lot of time to work with, but each and every pick is going to help them move that payload forward and buy themselves more time because it's going to force a regroup from X attacks. There's another pick from Danny onto Envision. Sound barrier was used from Tally's. Not really going to get a whole lot of usage, it seems, as he's still dangerously low. Danny, another pick on the next. Nano Boost comes out onto the code. What can he find off it? Hit by a bio grenade. No incoming heals. Taking a lot of pressure. Has Earth Shatter if he needs it. Gets put to sleep. Taken down. And Singularity well on their way to a second checkpoint capture.
I think these hooks are giving me PTSD or something. This man is on fire. Danny finding so many picks in that last fight to be able to push this forward. I mean, almost this point is almost completely from him. They have to all thank him at this point. This guy is a monster, shutting these guys down. Nonetheless, we're seeing the Earthshatter come out. A nice one there from Decode, and they're looking to clean up. It seems as though it's actually going to be possible here.
Lush, though, with the Dragon Blade, finds Cranks, who had the tactical visor out there. A second kill in Vision, able to find that kill for himself onto Lelouch. It's a pretty even back and forth here. There's a pick coming out from Nerf. Oh, actually, almost gets him there. Not going to be the case, as it was Nex that came out alive. And Vision, Nex, and Cranks all keeping themselves up. Now 30 seconds remain. Such a long walk for the offense. This is going to be their final attempt to get the checkpoint.
Have a lot of options here, though. I mean, Manitrodster, Danny come together, could nano boost up that whole hog potentially, could also give it to Nerf, could give it to Manitrodster as well. I mean, as soon as he drops it, we'll have to see what they want to do here and see what kind of damage they want to give out. He's not going to have too much energy, so I imagine they'll give it to someone else, and we do see the whole hog jumping out.
Whole hog into the Graviton Surge. Didn't really find a whole lot initially, but Nex and Cranks were both taken down. It's a 6-on-4 here. There's another kill on the Decode. They used the nano boost onto Envision, oddly enough here. I don't even think that they needed to use it because that fight was pretty much done here. Swift Strike to finish off Envision, and that's going to be 130 added to the clock here for Singularity to try to get something done and try to finish out this map.
And Lelouch getting pretty close to having that Dragon Blade as well, and the first time he pulled it out, didn't have too much impact, but he is typically on fire when he's able to pull those out, especially with that nano boost, as you might expect. Just pretty easy ult to go ahead and find, but nonetheless, I mean, Lelouch has been very, very, very strong with it, very efficient with it. Decode yet again with a nice Earthshatter, though.
He gets put to sleep after he finds that kill, gets charged into as well. Going to be taken down as both Reinhardts drop out of the fight. And honestly, that's gonna make Singularity back off of this one. The trade isn't in their favor. They're gonna be forced to get a regroup, especially with such little time. They can't afford to press that one. A Nano Blade now from Lelouch immediately gets the kill into Ruby, and Talix makes to the third one, looking for the Roadhog. Roadhog finds the one, gets to the flat kill with the headshot. Lelouch coming out alive here on the Genji, helping his team get around that final elbow.
What's his latency? How did he get that? That's ridiculous. And nonetheless, they're now able to push way farther than originally expected. I mean, certainly they had no business being here if we were looking back, a couple of minutes ago. And we are seeing the hook actually come out, and as well as Cranks just dropping that tactical visor, able to, not actually find the kill on Manitrodster at all, but he does find Lin.
And a boost as well, a little late, but it's going to come through here, help him punch out the damage. I think that's it. We're in overtime. Kelix is taken down. They do have Lelouch in the area. He is the final one remaining. Overtime will take down, despite a terrific second and third point push from Singularity Ninjas. They will come up just short of getting all 3 points. But honestly, Hurex, should almost getting 3 points even be a question right now if you are the defensive end of X alternate attacks? Because we saw them hold off over 4 minutes on that first checkpoint, and then out of nowhere, Singularity comes alive.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously some solid ultimates coming out from Lelouch as well to be able to close that out. But I think more importantly, it was just Danny coming out with those hooks. I mean, those were absolutely insane. That guy was just finding hook after hook. I mean, incredible accuracy for that particular phase of the map, particularly to find the kills off an Envision twice, putting him on respawn. And then as well, as soon as they actually mounted their attack, he was able to find the clutch pick off on Ruby there, who, as we talked about, is a huge impact player there on the Ana, and be able to take out not only someone like that on the roster, but also their primary healer. That's absolutely pivotal for them in that fight, and a big reason why they were able to win that one.
Heading into this, and I'd still say momentum in favor of Singularity. We had both said Singularity probably heading into this matchup as the favorites, probably expected to take the series. A questionable point A push. Would you expect them to be able to come out with a map victory still?
Well, I still think X alternate attack should be able to run the map here, but still, I mean, what's to be expected from Lelouch? That's the big thing here, and then Danny coming alive is certainly a bad omen for X alternate attacks, I think, on this map that I think they even kind of expected to win. Obviously, this map is at random, and oh, look, we have a little party going on here.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, I mean, I think they probably expected to win. I expected them to win as well, and I don't know what that fire strike was. Mistimed there by Nerfed a little bit, but this dive comp coming out, 2-2-2 strat here with Ruby actually on that Zenyatta that we talked about earlier. And looking like they're getting ready to try to jump in here.
Getting ready to pounce. Let's see what they're able to do with the code on this Winston and next on the Diva. They're going to jump straight into the low ground. Surprisingly enough, they don't want to go way into the back. They're going to try to focus down Nerfed. He's going to be the first to go down now. That's a good pickup for these guys, getting rid of that front line. They still have to be wary of the Danny, on that Roadhog here, but Envision finding 2 kills for themselves, and X attacks are cleaning up this fight. They are going to be able to come up with an extremely quick point A capture.
Danny almost taken out there. I would have liked to have seen him actually picked off so they could find that stagger and be able to get this payload moving forward through that gate, but that's not going to happen. Next, making a swap. It was originally there on Orisa, but going to be making the swap now actually over to that Diva. Ruby with some really nice discords coming out to be able to find the picks for his dive comp. Envision and Crank's really making the most of those. Now still on this Zenyatta. Doesn't have the Transcendence coming up at the moment, but I mean, surely going to be pretty close here.
Pulse bomb's out from Envision. He gets hooked in. He does get taken down. It's a 1-for-1. Dakota actually helped finish off Nerf with the pulse bomb as well. They are going to try to train down the Zarya, who pops the Graviton Surge. He's fully charged. Singularity and Mande are going to just be able to melt these guys down and make their first stand here during the second phase of the map.
And Cranks with a very late death there. I mean, he was following that Ana around for a little bit, I'd say a little bit too long. Wasn't able to find that kill until the very bitter end. Nonetheless, the team is going to be able to get right back in there. I'm not sure if Lynn is going to be able to get in a really good position initially here before this fight actually starts up. And Ruby with the Transcendence at the ready, they might be able to take advantage of this and find the kill. Nerfed already with a nice charge out on Envision. That's going to slow things down a lot.
Do they really want to pop anything here, being down a number? It looks like they do. There's the Primal Rage from Dakota. He's immediately just dropped, though. No reason whatsoever for the rest of alternate attacks to actually stick around. They lose next. They lose Cranks as well. They're just going to go ahead and back off of this one and get a full regroup.
They'll have a lot of options here, though. I mean, both support ults at the ready, so Certainly we'll be seeing at least one of those coming out in the next fight. Crank's, of course, looking for an opportunity to pull out that Dragon Blade, but look at the defensive side. Literally everything is available for them pretty soon here, at least, as Minotaurs are at 98%. Should be able to finish that one out.
There's a we're gonna use the ultimates from Lelouch and Lind, but it wasn't onto Lelouch, if I'm not mistaken. At least I didn't see it there. He doesn't really find a whole lot with it, unfortunately. With the tactical visor, he's gonna be taken down here by the Winston. Still anybody's fight to take it. It's looking like X Attacks have a numbers advantage just slightly. Self-destruct comes through there. He finds a pick onto Kellex, and this, despite being at a massive ult disadvantage here, is X Attacks moving forward with the payload.
And Danny getting pressured now by Envision. They need to find this kill quickly because Danny's going to be able to help out Minotaur if he actually does wind up dropping that Graviton. They should be able to contest this once again, but the big thing here is that when all those ults came out, we still had 2 support ults. Really, really impactful ones, both from Talus and Ruby, that were both up, and that's why they were able to hold on for that one. And that's actually really good for them that they had those options available. Graviton coming out, they find 2 inside of it. Right after, though, Envision finding one of his own onto Minotaur, shutting him down.
Eva's out of mech, so it's not going to provide much of an opportunity for them to move back out of this fight, and they're going to press the advantage. Lelouch finds a late kill with Kellex on Talus, and that is going to, again, get them a little bit more time drained off the clock here. Still 2:30 to work with if you're X Attacks, given how much time that their opponents had on their offensive push. 2:30 is an abundance to work with, so they have a couple of pushes in them. They have a few ultimates coming down the pipeline here, especially Cranks with the Dragon Blade.
And already Winston Decode there, jumping up top, giving the team a little bit of some high ground advantage should they want to use it, or at least just taking these guys off of it. Soundberry at the ready for Kellex now as he's going to drop down, and Lin looking for an opportunity to nano boost as well. Nice Sound Barrier actually getting 5 of his team, but nonetheless Envision still going to find a kill, and it looks as though Danny should be able to clean things up alongside Lelouch, who did get nano boosted without the blade even coming out, so they're still going to have that in the next one, but that's all that they have here to be able to mount a defense. Granted,
but even yeah, I was about to say, even on the other side though, here they used everything there in that fight as well. Cranks really didn't get any value whatsoever out of his Dragon Blade. Ruby didn't have a nano boost to really help him out with that one. Sound Barrier is on the way, but will Talus really have it in time for Lelouch's Dragon Blade? I'm not so sure if that's going to be the case. So now 125 on the board here, and Singularity on the verge of making the hold here before the second checkpoint. There's the Dragon Blade from Lelouch, looking for something onto Ana. Gets hit with a bio grenade. Does he get taken down? 39 HP remaining. No value whatsoever from that Dragon Blade.
But nonetheless, with that kill onto Decode, it looks as though we are going to be seeing them backed up here. Envision still finding his 1 pick per fight at least. But, I mean, still, they are going to be taken out. Nerf be able to find that last kill there. And it is going to be Singularity looking like they might be able to pull this off here. But we did see things in a similar state, actually, on their attack. They were able to get it in overtime to push it through and then get it very close to that last point to be able to close out the map. But we'll have to see if we're going to be seeing the same thing. Certainly, Cranks having Dragon Blade would be a big benefactor for that to happen, but doesn't have it at the ready just yet. 60% at the moment.
25 seconds left to go. We're going to see the Sound Barrier come out there from Talus as they try to get something off of that Earth Shatter. Graviton Surge as well from Mede. He is fully charged up here. He is melting these guys down here. 3 kills on the board now for Singularity Ninjas. And with 13 seconds to go here, I think they have this in the bag. Envision, if he gets picked off super late, yep, that is certainly going to be it. Talus is trying to get close to the payload to try to contest this one. He is going to be spotted out here. Certainly is going to be able to contest. No, not even the case. Singularity Ninjas are going to be able to round out Hollywood and take this first map in the series.
Singularity up 1-0 on really kind of the only map I would say that X Alternate Attacks I think had a decent shot at, but shut down completely in that second phase of the map. Curious to find out what was going on in their camp at the moment, and now they have to pick a second map to go on to, and I'm not even sure what they would want to go with, because really, I mean, I think Singularity looks stronger on pretty much all of the other maps. Maybe a 2CP map is what you want to come out with, or perhaps maybe a Numbani, but they didn't look good on Numbani at all, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, looking back at their other matchups here, Alternate Attacks has lost out hard on Numbani to Hammers. They don't have a good success rate at all in Nepal, so certainly if it does go to a map 3, I mean, that one win right there basically secured this entire series already for Singularity, because if at any point they do lose that second map, we'll probably just see them go to Nepal and just win out easily. Now,
Sure.
you could go over to perhaps like a Hanamura or something like that, but even Hanamura isn't one that I would feel very confident in alternate attacks' ability to get onto that and actually perform well enough to pull out a win. I think that's probably what they're going to pull out, but maybe they stick to something more, I guess, familiar, which might be Nimbani, even though they haven't really done too well on that up against a team like Hammers Esports, who Singularity just beat. We'll have to see. Obviously, Tala is very known for bringing out the Torbjorn on that map. Maybe that might be comfortable, but
Ooh.
what is this?
Nepal.
They're
Whoa,
pulling out
okay.
Nepal. This is not smart, in my opinion,
This is
at all.
interesting. I mean, Curix, we're talking about. I just want to kind of briefly go back over before I let you get into the Nepal discussion. What just happened on that map with Singularity Ninjas at X Attack? I mean, Singularity Ninjas were held off 4+ minutes. I say the plus minutes because there was at least 30 seconds of overtime after that from getting that first checkpoint. They nearly finish out the map, and then they beat X Attacks on the map that you had mentioned was X Attack's best opportunity to take them down. Now they go to Nepal, and
which is,
I mean, are you expecting
arguably
a 3
Singularity's
alternate?
best map, right? Doesn't make any sense to me. If X alternate attacks actually does win this, then we are in some kind of weird alternate reality, and nothing makes sense to me anymore.
Well, they are X alternate attacks, so there's a possibility we could be here. So we'll see. We'll see if that's the case, Urix, as we are going to be getting into game number 2. Let's see if Singularity Ninjas are able to boost their record up to 2-1, or if X alternate attacks will finally get a win in the books here today and try to push this to a 3rd map. So I'm interested to see what they're going to be breaking out. Maybe they may know something we don't from their end of their perspective here, but we'll see if that's going to be the case here. I'm expecting Singularity Ninjas to be able to move through and find themselves with a rather quick 2-0, if you ask me.
I think that's going to be the case as well. And in fact, I actually think that we're going to be seeing either a 3-0 or a 3-1 on this particular map set. I mean, especially it really kind of depends on how many times we see Sanctum. I think that, obviously Singularity looks incredibly strong on that particular map. I mean, I wouldn't say they're impervious to a loss or whatever, or anything like that. I mean, they certainly could lose on Sanctum, but I mean, historically they have shown that to be their strongest map in this particular on Nepal. But they're starting things off with that double hit scan going up against Cranks on the Pharah. If they go through main here, I think this is actually a very, very smart idea for them to be able to really contest that Pharah in the skies with the Mercy. And they actually do go through main. They're starting this off incredibly smart.
That is super. Oh man, that's so good for them. They have double hit scan into that Pharaoh pick and a Tracer pick as well. This I would be shocked if they didn't come up victorious. Next, already taken out of the mech here, and Vision picks up a kill, but like we saw, Nerf finding Next out of mech as well. Still, Mande is actually under a lot of heat. He's going to be the first to go down in terms of hit scan. No, actually, Lelouch was also dropped here, so pretty back and forth to get things started. Still, they do manage to come up with the first points. Like you said, they went through main. They had the positional advantage as well.
And now we are going to be seeing Cranks come in here, trying to lay some damage down, and that's going to be up against Lelouch's Soldier, and they're going to get into a little bit of a duel, but it looks as though Cranks actually going to be able to win that one out. And still 20% in favor of Singularity, as they have yet to be able to deal with Lind, Danny, and Nerfed at all. They have no ability to jump in here. They're just helping each other out so well.
Resurrect comes out there from Ruby. You got to remember, this might be a fun fight coming out here for X attacks and whatnot, but here, the entire time, Singularity has held control. We're still in our first team fight. This has not been reset whatsoever, aside from a Resurrect from Ruby. I'm not sure if anyone was actually back off a respawn. Cranks now moves over to Genji. What in the world is X alternate attacks doing right now?
Feeding ults, giving up free kills, using their ultimates at the wrong time with Decode. I mean, this is just a slew of mistakes coming out from X alternate attacks, and they've not only given up 60%, but they've given up pretty much any semblance of an ability, a capacity to come back and be able to turn this map around. Finally, we're seeing some swaps happening. We are seeing Ruby going over to Zenyatta, as well as Crank swapping off over to the Genji, and they might be able to really do something off of this. This is definitely a better composition, but still, they used so many of their ultimates in that last fight when they really shouldn't have, and now, with it so late in this particular map, with it down 82%, it's basically over.
5 ultimates. They're going up against 5 ultimates with 2 or 3 of their own if Talus can get his up, but you've got 10 seconds to go here, and we've seen 2 team fights. Nerfed is just going to go ahead and Earth Shatter. They're going to use Whole Hog. They won't even let him back. There's an Earth Shatter. Only hits next. I mean, it wasn't the greatest shatter by any means, but it gets him out of the mech. The Pulse Bomb sticks onto him. Nanovisor's out from Lelouch. They find a pick as well. There is a second one potentially coming through. Some of that damage is actually absorbed by the defense matrix coming out from the D.Va as he earlier got the reset, but the rest of the squad is able to mop this one up, and Singularity and them just are able to take a very, very convincing round number 1 here in the second match.
I mean, things were looking a little bit shaky at the beginning when Mandatraster was on the McCree at first, as he just wasn't landing shots. I mean, we were on his POV for a little bit there, and I would say his accuracy was a little bit less than what I would consider par for the course here, for him especially, but definitely looked like things kind of turned back around when he was able to get back in off of that first death, and we saw him on the kill feed a lot more and definitely had more of an impact there. But nonetheless, they're already up 1-0, very convincing fashion, and I think a lot of that was less due to Singularity's performance and more due to X-Alternate Attack's lack thereof, you know, but maybe they can turn things around.
I think it was just silly decision making as well. I don't think it should have been 100-0. I don't think Singularity Ninjas are that much better of a team to 100-0 them 3 times in a row here.
Yeah,
I think
it
that
shouldn't
was just
happen.
silly mistakes at the start of that one that put them in such a deep hole that it was just, impossible for them to come back out of that one. And we'll see if they make the same mistakes this time around.
Nice hook coming out there, but nicely defended. Decode coming in to go ahead and make a play there. Flashbang coming out, but not going to be able to secure anything. It seems as though X-Alternate Attacks this time is going to be able to turn things in their favor. Control point unlocking pretty soon, as they do have control of the area, and they are going to be able to get their first set of points on the board here on Nepal.
Mande is going to be changing over from the McCree. Looks like he's going to be breaking out the Tracer here to match Envision and be that pest in the backline. Look at Envision right now. He's looking to make his move. No one really spots him right here. Let's see what he gets done with it.
Oh, Danny spots him and finds the kill as well, and that's opening things up nicely here with a pick. And a little 65
good start
advantage.
to this one, though. And he's under a little bit of heat. There's the charge coming out there from the Reinhardt. Can they find a kill off? The Earthshatter used as well. There's the kill onto Lelouch. Still pretty even fight for the most part here. Can they get the flip mid-fight? They still hold on to it. Nano Boost is actually used there. Cranks now with the Dragon Blade. Finds 3 kills for himself. And this is X-Attacks mopping up the fight.
Really, really good performance. This time looking a lot better than they did on the last map. I mean, obviously, I think that was a lot of big mistakes that really didn't give a good impression of what to expect from this team, even on Nepal, where Singularity, I think, has a little bit of an advantage. But this one isn't necessarily, I mean, it really comes down to, I think, Sanctum for the most part for Singularity to have a big, big advantage. But that being the third map, certainly we'll have to see what happens here. Pulse Bomb at the ready now for Envision.
There's a pick each way. There's a Nano Boost actually being used now onto Decode. Do they find anything? Nerf is actually knocking him all over the place here. Not able to really find a lot of damage thanks to the Primal Rage. Winston, 18 HP, will be taken down here. Though Danny finds a pick there onto Envision. Looking for another. Ana's coming through there with the kill thanks to Nex as well. And X-Alternate Attacks have really come alive here in round number 2.
And it almost looks as though we're going to be seeing a 100-0 on the other side here. Pulse Bomb coming out, almost taking Nex. Does actually take Nex out of that that mech, and that's going to be a big pickup as Lelouch is certainly looking for some kills here with that Dragon Blade. Doesn't find anything, though.
Oh, he does get out of this one alive. I don't know what in the world Singularity had changed up from that last round, and like we had mentioned, a lot of it was just mistakes from X-Attacks to have clearly cleaned them up here in round number 2, though it looks like they will be forced to give the point flip up 99-0 regardless. Let's see if Singularity can battle their way back into this round.
This particular point is actually pretty defensible, I would say. I mean, we've seen teams be down 99-0 and then come back for a full 100-point run back. We've seen that in the past, and certainly Singularity is one of the teams that has the capacity to pull that off, but We'll have to see if that's in the cards for them as Trodster gets eliminated there by Ruby. That's certainly not going to bode well for them as things are opening up. Danny looking for a hook in the back here. Whole Hog at the ready as well, and picks are coming out left and right all ready for X alternate attacks.
They're going to go ahead and use the nano boost here onto Nerfed. Cranks as well has a Dragon Blade, picks up 3 kills in the mix of it. And despite the flip, 36% will be all that we're going to see here on the side of Singularity Ninjas in round number 2. They're going to try to contest this one as much as they possibly can with Mande now in the mix, but he's going to be taken down. Overtime will tick through, and this is going to be a tied up 1-1 here on the ball.
Moving on to Sanctum here, it's really kind of up to X alternate attacks at the moment to make a statement. I think this is the map where, I mean, if they can pull this one out somehow, then they're going to be at a really, really good spot to be able to win this out and really kind of send me for a loop, because I won't understand it if we see I mean, we already saw Hollywood go in favor of Singularity Ninjas, which isn't that big of a deal, but seeing Singularity Ninjas lose out on Nepal to X alternate attacks, who hasn't found a win yet on this map in any of their matchups, that would just be completely, that would be out of whack for me, I think. But nonetheless, we will see Singularity going for that 3-tank strat that has worked out well for them so far, with Lelouch on that Soldier as well as Lind going over to that Ana as well, and a mirror composition actually coming out here for X alternate attacks.
Yeah, if I'm X attacks after that one, I'm thinking, all right, guys, we're in a pretty good position. We really cleaned up the mistakes from the first round on Village, but both Reinhardt's headbutting here. There's a hook from Danny, finds the kill onto Cranks to get things underway here. Danny has been such an impact player. A charge from downtown to Code, finds the pick onto Nerf. That's going to get rid of that frontliner. Another pick from Danny. He is a monster on the Roadhog, but a boot from Tally sends Mande Trodster basically down the pit here. They do return fire, and it looks like an Earthshatter already from Decode. Picks up both supports off of that one, and X attacks coming through with the first points in round number 3.
Decode is just, I mean, he's been a pretty solid performer, but really, really kind of stand out in some of these situations where X alternate attacks really, really needs them. And, you know, I mean, plays like that where he's able to basically just prove that he's the better main tank here in this matchup to really kind of give them a little bit of an advantage in these fights here up on the high ground.
Decode looking for a little bit of poke, trying to get himself back up to that Earth Shatter here. He follows up with a charge Nerf, gonna be taken down. Decode and next grabbing another one, 2 now off the board. Man, what has happened to Singularity Ninjas since that first round here, X?
Well, I think the major thing here is just Decode. I mean, he's been hugely impactful, shutting down Nerfed completely, but we are going to be seeing Lelouch go for that classic play. We'll have to see if, you know, this team is going to be able to contest this. And I think, ooh, Lelouch actually gets found, but he is going to be able to take out the Soldier nonetheless, more than likely. They do kind of rotate to try to make this play, and he's not going to be able to find as much as what we're used to. And that's actually a nice play. Decode with a nice Earthshatter as well. Not going to find anything there, and Tala's kind of getting contested as well. But still, actually kind of nicely played there by X Attacks against a strategy that has worked very, very well in the past for Singularity.
A lot of that off of Lelouch as well, who's going to be dropped here. And Vision has attack visor if he needs it. They maintain control now at 70% here in round number 3. You mentioned how much of an, you know, how important this third round in particular is actually going to be for these guys, who now have a decent amount to work with. They're going to be going into 4 ults. There's a whole hog to get things started for Danny. Graviton Surge, though, is out from Crank. Sound Barrier from Calyx. Going to be able to save him for the time being. I'm looking for Mande to break out his own. Tac Visor now comes down from Envision. Cranks will be the first to drop here. X Attack still on the point. They're actually going to be forced. Oh, Envision going to be finally taken down here. And Singularity drop the Graviton Surge. Connects onto 2 of them in the mix. Make it maybe even 3 here. And they're looking to flip this one at 99% again, but I don't even know if it's possible.
Their tank line is unstoppable. I mean, Decode and Nex have been monsters. We saw some picks originally happening from the side of Danny, and Danny's definitely stepped up and really performed, but Lelouch, who basically carried Sanctum the last few times that we've seen them pull out wins on it, was silent, I think, in this matchup, and they shut him down completely. I mean, winning out that first fight was huge for them because they basically eliminated Lelouch from the equation and pushed him out completely to where he wasn't going to be able to do much. And then as soon as he went for that classic, you know, wraparound flanking Soldier play with the Nano Visor, he didn't really find too much value other than that kill on the Soldier, and that was pretty much it.
Well, it looks like Singularity will be making a little bit of a comp change. This is the round that it was a 99-0 lead for the side of X Attacks before we saw about 36-ish% put up from Singularity after one flip, and that was all they could manage to get up there. So Village, unfortunately, not the one we're headed to for Singularity's sake, who had a 100-0 first round here. There's a first pick, though, from Lelouch, finding Cranks to get D.Va out of the mech, and the comp change clearly helping out Singularity to get things started here in round number 4.
I definitely like Danny, actually, still on this Roadhog. He's been really good with those hooks, able to find a lot of picks, and Lelouch, nice dash there, actually, just getting Envision right off the back end of that one, and now Singularity with that first cap, and they have been not so good about getting wins off of losing that first fight, so definitely good for them that they were able to pull out the win here, and I do agree that this composition change certainly helping them a little bit. We're going to be seeing Lelouch jumping into the backline more than likely here, trying to deal with Ana a little bit.
Laying under a lot of pressure, though. He's going to be dropped here thanks to the Tracer. Pressure coming out there from Envision. It's 2 for 2 right now. Both Tracers having their pulse bomb, but Mandy Trodster is the one that's coming out on top here. We're going to see him try for something big. He's looking to finish off the other one. He gets the recall to safety. Ruby still is going to be forced into the back line. We're actually just forced all the way back to Code, still sitting on top. And pulse bombs out there from Envision. Doesn't find a pick. Nerf comes through with 2 of his own there, and still they maintain control. 45% and counting. Got a question, is it in X Alternate Attack's best interest to continue to funnel back, as it looks like Nex was hit there with the pulse bomb. He's taken out of the mech. Mande needs to be dealt with. We also see Lin now popping the Transcendence here. This should be able to help them hold strong.
I don't know how I feel about that Transcendence coming out. I think they would have been able to hold on to that, and then as well, I think a bigger factor is that it also would have still kind of enticed X Alternate Attacks to continue pushing, because they would have felt like maybe they would have had an opportunity. But as soon as that Transcendence comes out, you're just going to back them away, because they're going to be, you know, kind of shy a little bit about continuing the aggression against a team that has 300, or rather 200 health per second there.
Nanoblade coming out there from Cranks. He needs to be the saving grace for his team right now. Finds a kill there onto Danny. Now Lelouch has his opportunity to get something done. Finds the kill onto Cranks. It's 2 for 1. Gets a second kill onto Decode now. D.Va out of the mech. Self-destruct was forced there from Nex, but we're now at 93% Hurix. They don't stand much of a chance here in round number 4, especially since the Primal Rage came out from Winston. Lelouch has been untouched here in round number 4. We are going to be heading to a 5th and final round as soon as they can deal with this Winston.
And it's not going to take too long with that Discord out, and Manitros are finding a lot of damage. Cranks now jumping on as well as Envision here, and again, they're just looking to try to keep this in overtime for as long as possible, maybe see if they can get some picks, but that's not going to be the case. And we do see the Pulse Bomb eaten up by Nex as he jumps on, but not going to get there, not going to break the plane, as we say a little bit in America, haha, but nonetheless 2-2 now tied up. Singularity coming back a little bit. On to see what we're going to be getting out of map 5.
If this is Village, Singularity are setting. Oh, it is. Ooh, okay.
Singularity looked really good on this map.
Singularity took a 100-0 victory on this map. Extremely good.
Granted, it was off of incredulous mistakes that came off the side of X and Alternate Attack. So I don't know what we could say in terms of that particular scoreline. I think both times, you know, both of the other maps, obviously Sanctum being the other one that is left out here, I think really kind of maybe some flukes on both of those a little bit.
Let's see what's going to happen this time around. Last time, Singularity went with a double hit scan, and there was a Pharah as well on the side of X Attacks. Both teams not going to be going with that this time around. That shield already down from Decode. Needs to be careful there. Oh, the first pick coming out. There's a charge into Danny, though. He should be able to get the kill. He does indeed. Nerf, the frontliner, was taken down, but so were the frontliners on the side of X Attacks. Yurks, that's going to force them to back off and give the first points over to Singularity.
Danny definitely making a big play there by finding that kill on the Reinhardt, and now they have control of the point. Last time we saw on this particular stage, we saw Nerf, Danny, as well as Lin just holding the point literally by themselves, basically as like a 3-man front, and nobody was able to really get in there and contest with them. But nice hooks there coming out from Danny. They should be able to shut this one down.
Is an absolute monster. This guy is waiting for just the perfect opportunities to get rid of Decode on the front line. Did it once again there, did it last time. Actually kind of baited Decode to charge into him the first time around. Now they've got 4 ultimates to work with. As soon as Danny and Lind are ready to go, nothing is even comparatively close on the other side. Singularity is set up for success. I would be shocked if they don't win up this next team fight, as Lelouch already finding the first pick onto Ruby.
Oh, and Vision just got bullied into that cubby too. Danny is a cyber bully, but nonetheless we see Whole Hog at the ready, but they don't have to even use that. They keep Lelouch's ult as well. I mean, really, they haven't had to really do too much at all, and they are looking just as strong this time around here on Village as they did the last.
Still holding on to that Transcendence, which is the important thing here. And Crank's now moving over to Afera really late in this one. I'm not really sure what to make of it. There's a Transcendence coming out from Lin. Is it going to do enough? Dragon Blade as well from Lelouch. Looking for one. Gets tallies. Getting the second one potentially onto the Ana in the back. Will be able to finish him off. They do lose Kellex and Danny in the mix, but ultimately now at 75%. A few late kills. Maybe be able to get this Tracer as well. And Vision is still in the mix here, but Hurex, 20 seconds to go, one final team fight.
Yeah, and Kellex should be able to get the sound barrier up, so they are going to be able to contest that support ult coming out from Talos more than likely. Nano Boost going to be coming out, and I imagine it should be onto Decode if I'm not mistaken. I don't know who else you would really want to put it on at this stage, and that is going to be the case.
Sound barriers now out for both sides here. Danny ready to go with the Whole Hog. They use the Primal Rage from Winston to try to knock him off. There's the Pulse Bomb. Whole Hog comes out from Danny. He gets stuck though. He's taken down. The rest of the squad though is still alive and in the making here, trying to clean this one up. A few of them were taken down on the side of X attacks. Kellex finding the one onto Ruby here. This should seal the deal. Just need to take care of tallies. Decode as well coming off a respawn. That will seal the second map here, giving the 2-0 series victory over to Singularity Ninjas.
And now Singularity, who barely made it into this tournament to begin with, are now sitting in a position where in their group stage, they're looking like they've pretty much already clinched it.
Honestly, that's a big pickups for those guys. Singularity Ninjas now moving to 2-1 in the standings, putting themselves at second place currently. That's going to move X alternate attacks down to an 0-3. Definitely not how they want to start out. They're not out of it just yet, but you know, given the fact they've had a couple of matchups up against teams who they should maybe beat, they're going to have some very difficult ones in the coming days here. So moving down to 0-3, Hurex, any last thoughts on that matchup before I head to a break?
Well, pretty much this basically has determined that X alternate attacks is basically out of it. I mean, they could still come back and take some upsets and somehow beat out Misfits. Don't really see that happening. That's going to be tomorrow's matchup. And then on Saturday, they have one final matchup against Movistar Riders. Again, not a team that I would expect them to beat either. So more than likely, we're going to be seeing alternate attacks here finish out 0-5 with this particular matchup finishing up. I think. I mean, Misfits and Movistar Riders, those are two incredibly strong teams in this grouping. I just, if I was a betting man, I'd be saying 0-5 for alternate attacks. They did not win the games that they should have won. Meanwhile, Singularity, who came in after LDLC, had to drop out. This is a team that came third in the qualifier to be able to make it in here versus alternate attacks, who actually got second. And now they're already sitting in a group stage where, I mean, granted, they probably won't win their next two games either, as they have to go up against Movistar as well as Dignitas. They might have a shot against Dignitas, maybe, but I'm not really sure about that. And maybe they have a shot against Movistar Riders. That, I guess those two matchups are a little bit less convincing. But even if they pulled out 2-3. If they lose out, they're still in a good position to be able to take fourth, I think. And it's really going to come down to the performance that's going to come from Hammers Esports to see, who actually winds up taking that. Obviously, with Singularity beating them out, I think Singularity is in a good position. But nonetheless, I think with this particular matchup out of the way, Singularity definitely put themselves in a good position to be able to make it to the playoffs here.
I have to agree with you on that one. Guys, we're going to head to a short break, and when we're back, we'll have our final series of the day. It's going to be Hammers Esports up against Movistar Riders. Don't go anywhere.